Okay, lighting is gonna be weird. I'm just gonna let you guys know that ahead of time. It is super stormy and weird outside. I don't really know what's going on. It's like really, really humid, but it's also raining. So just letting you know, it's gonna come in waves of being okay and not okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to Jenna Knits. My name is Jenna and I like knitting. Today I am sporting my wannabe Grinch mom sweater. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll reference here. Cindy Lou Who's mom inspired this sweater. It is knit with, let's see if you can actually see the color. There we go. It is knit with Wool and the Gang's alpaca and mohair mixed together with, I think it's called like mauve is what they call their purple. So I've got purple alpaca throughout the entire thing, and then the stripes are alternating the purple, mauve, alpaca, and mohair, and then I did the alpaca and snow white together so that it has this little speckly feature. This is not a seamless sweater, so the construction of it is not the best because I am not very good at seaming my pieces together. And this was the first complete sweater that I've ever achieved. But what I love about it is the fit. I love the sleeve length and I love how far down it comes. And I've got a baby back there. I don't know if you can see her, but she's back there being a baby dragon right now. But it's finally getting kind of cool. I say that. It was like 60 yesterday, but the day before was literally 85. So we pulled out our fall bins and now I have my fall sweaters, and I just felt like this was a good rainy day vibe inside. Not a good rainy day vibe outside because last year I wore this when it was kind of rainy and oh my god, I was gonna like itch my skin off. Things I like about this sweater again are the length and everything like that. I dislike how itchy the Wool and the Gang mohair is. The alpaca feels amazing, but their mohair is so itchy. I will never buy it again. I'm really bummed about that because I really like the way that this sweater looks. It looks kind of weird in this lighting, but I can show you what it looks like over here. I think I've showed you guys before anyway, but still. Maybe I should like redo this pattern with different yarn. Like redo the chunky sweater and just use different yarn because I do really like the fit. I don't know. I just hate the mohair so much and it really will hinder me from getting a lot of use out of this sweater because it is just so itchy, and the fact that it's also like, you know, a chunky turtleneck, that means it's itchy everywhere. Anyways, today's video is something I've promised for the last like 2 videos. I am going to show you all my minimal knitting lifestyle. I don't know how to phrase that and not like sound like a butt. But anyways, I'm going to show you guys my yarn stash, how I keep everything, and yeah, the reasons why I keep it the way that I do. Keeping a more minimal knitting situation with my hobbies. There are some yarns here that I've had for a hot minute that I desperately want to cast on and need to cast on. I just keep finding more fun things to knit than that particular yarn. And also I've realized, I'm skipping ahead, but I've realized that my impulse purchases with yarn are always very poor. Because I started impulse buying at first, right? You're like, oh, this is so pretty, this is so pretty. And then you're getting single skeins of things when really you need like 5 or 6 to create something. And my first like big knitting project was the Contrast Blast socks by Stephen West, his sock along. And so I got really heavy into socks last year, almost like 2 years ago. I got really heavy into socks. So I was like, no garments. I'm just a sock lady. And I have nothing to show for it because I either gave the socks to other people, which is dominantly what I did, or I messed up the pattern so bad that, okay, for example, this is like a weird tangent I'm doing already in this video, my goodness. I knit the Lavender Lane socks. This is a very common pattern that you'll see on Pinterest. I don't know if you can hear her back there growling. So you're the dragon, guys, and I gave birth to one. I knit the lavender lane socks, and I was knitting them with bamboo needles, and one of the socks, while I was knitting it, the bamboo needles snapped in half. And so that's why I don't use bamboo needles anymore, because it happened twice with that pair of socks actually. And so the second sock, I ended up knitting with the carbons, which I will show you. I love the carbons by Knitter's Pride. And so the gauge was different in how I was holding it, because the needle weight was so drastically different. And one sock ended up like a full inch longer than the other. Don't know how that happened with the same amount of stitches, but my gauge was just way off. I was obviously holding way tighter. I mean, clearly I was holding a little bit tight. I snapped the bamboo in half. So I guess I just need metal needles. I don't know. I need something I can't break, because I'm a mess. But I have a lot of sock yarn here, and everything else is pretty much from projects that I've just done. So I'll just show you my stash first. I'll show you the stash first, and then I'll explain why I keep the stash the way I do. Baby girl, are you waking up? Yeah, a little bit. What I am not going to include in my stash are these two yarns. This one I have shown before. This is my crazy clown sock yarn. It is sock fingering weight, excuse me, and I think it's a silk blend. I'll have to double check. This I got at Hobby Lobby. I did knit a pair of socks with it, and my sister-in-law loves them, but I will never use this yarn. The other one is the candy cane from the Wonderland yarn. This is how much of this cake I have left. I have posted these two before, and I've talked about these two yarns in I think 2 of my videos. I had somebody from Australia say that they would love to do a swap with me, but unfortunately that is not going to be feasible, really. So if anyone wants to do, and I'm really sorry about that, because I would love one of your quilts, but I also don't feel like this yarn would be worthy of the amount of time that it takes for you to make a quilt. So even if you were local, like, I would feel so guilty taking a quilt for, especially this one. This one's just from Hobby Lobby. Like, this is not worthy of a quilt, I promise. It's nice, it's very soft, it's very saturated in color, but this is big box store yarn. This isn't, but this one is, and I would feel absolutely horrible taking, my mom is a quilter and so is my brother. I would feel horrible taking a quilt from you in exchange for this yarn. But now that I've trashed this yarn, if anyone wants to do a yarn swap, they're both fingering weight. This is from the Wonderland yarns. It's great holiday yarn. I mean, let me see if I can get it in there. It's pink and kind of like dark pink and white, and it's got, I don't know if you can see the shimmer. I've tried to show the shimmer before and it didn't quite work, but we're back to super dark lighting. This is so frustrating. If anybody in the States wants to do a yarn swap, I don't want to be wasteful, and there's a lot of this one left. A lot of that one left. Hopefully, if you guys want it, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram, actually, because that might be a little bit easier to, there's some light, a little bit easier to track each other down. So just message me on Instagram if you guys want this. Again, I have almost an entire cake of this left. All I made with this was some booty socks that were nothing. My brother has really little feet, so this was super easy, and I have this much left. So let me know if you want to do a yarn swap. I think that would be really fun, and something fun to kind of continue on this channel with the community. Like, if you have scrap yarn that you don't love, and I have scrap yarn that I don't love, why don't we swap it and see what's what? I don't know, try something new. This is my yarn stash, okay? So what I have in this yarn stash is that same yarn, hand-dyed yarn from Hobby Lobby, but I got it in this blue. It's blue and it's got little pink speckles in it with the white. It's very pretty. I do have two of them because I didn't know how to wind yarn before, and so I tried to just go for it and it got a huge knot. So now I have 2 because I broke it. My goal with this was to make a golf club sleeve for my dad, and that just never happened. And now I keep looking at it thinking I really want a sock with this. So I talked about in the last video how I'm getting really itchy to cast on socks because it's been so long since I've done it. And this will be the next sock yarn that I do. Probably just doing a 1x1 or 2x2 rib cuff and then just stockinette for the rest of it. Nothing crazy, just a solid sock. Something cozy and soft, not durable or anything. It wouldn't be a sock I would wear with shoes or wear out, just because I feel like this fiber would literally fall apart on day one. Also, it feels like it would be real sweaty, and I'm a very sweaty girl, so it's weird. I am a very cold girl, and I am also a very sweaty girl. So anyways, now you know that about me. This will be my next sock. I have promised myself, I keep thinking about it, this will be my next sock. The next sock yarn I have is from Keen's & Co. This is the Silk Wool Blend, and I really love this one. This is one that I used, come on color, there we go. It's like this really nice plummy color. I used this one for my contrast blast socks. I also sadly used this one for my lavender land socks that we won't talk about. And I really like this yarn. I think it's really nice. I think, is Keen's & Co. the one that just got bought out by Lion's brand? I feel like it is, but I've used a couple of their different kinds because they have obviously different blends, and their colors are just very beautiful because they're muted. They're not super vibrant, you know, they're very calming colors. And I really enjoyed knitting this. It feels really nice. I will say that the contrast blast socks, after a while of wearing them, the fiber really does hurt my feet, and I don't know if that's just that it's not the softest texture in the world. Like this one, even though it is a silk blend, it's not particularly soft. It is much more woolly. I don't remember what the percentage is, but yeah, it does kind of hurt my feet after a while. So I don't know what that's about. I'll have to do some research on that. The next bit of yarn that I have are two of the last skeins that I have of the Wool and the Gang alpaca. I've got the purple color that I have in here, and then I have the white alpaca that I used for Olivia's sweater, her little boat neck sweater, which she's still too little to wear, but I can't wait to see her wear it. I will be using these, but probably for Olivia and not for me. They are super soft. I would buy the alpaca again from Wool and the Gang, but honestly, price point wise, I feel like I could find a very comparable alpaca at one of my local shops instead of having to order online. And they've become, well, they have been for a while now, a very like big box kind of vibe. So I also knit a couple of their patterns, and I ended up just unraveling them because I didn't like how they turned out. So I don't know what to say about that. I do like their alpaca though. I would buy it, but only if like a yarn shop had it. I wouldn't order that from them online. What's next? Next I have other cheap yarn. This is cheap yarn that I use for the holidays. I don't know where it came from. I think this came from my mom. This is like, I don't even know what kind of yarn it is, honestly. But I've got this ball of white yarn and I have this ball of green yarn. And what I do with these balls of yarn is I make Christmas trees and I sell them on Etsy for $5. And I've had some success in the last couple of years, and honestly I need to get on my Christmas tree game because I only have 3 of them made so far, and it's almost Thanksgiving. But these are my two non-luxurious yarns, and honestly I use this green one as lifelines too in a lot of my work, because with these cheaper skeins, there's nothing wrong with them, but they come with so much yarn. And I wouldn't knit a garment with these. Like it's very uncomfortable on just the hand alone. It leaves like a feeling. Hopefully you know what that means. But it leaves a feeling that I don't love. But it works up a great ornament. So I don't know how absorbent they are to make them like useful house things, but these are my Christmas tree yarns, and it has taken me 3 years to get down to this much. So imagine how much I had before. But my Christmas trees are so cute. I actually, one year, I think it was like Jack's first Christmas, because he was born right after Christmas. So his first actual Christmas, I had so much anxiety around the holidays that I just found myself like meditatively knitting just a crap ton of Christmas trees. And then that's just kind of how this spiraled out of hand. This next one, I have a ton left and I'm super happy about, and you just recently saw it. I love this yarn from Fiber Co. This is the one that I knit Jack's anchor sweater in, right here. And so you've already seen that one. Everything else, hilariously, is just Rowan tweed. Well, I lied, it's Rowan. So I've got the blue Rowan tweed for my sweater. I have the purple Rowan tweed for Olivia's sweater. I have this gray and blue speckled Rowan tweed that I don't know what I'm going to do with just yet. I had an idea for Cameron with this one, but it is very beautiful. So I've got 4 skeins of Rowan tweed, okay? And then I've got Rowan alpaca in this really nice, really vibrant red, okay? And then I have 2 different kinds of the Yak DK. I have it in this sea moss color. Let's see if that'll work. That I was working up a tank top in, and then I just hated how it looked. This is recently too. Like, I hated how it looked, which is why they look like a mess. And so I unraveled it because I was like, wow, I thought this was going to be cute, and it's just not. So I have this, and then I have this one in the pasture green. And this one I've had for quite a while. I knit my brother-in-law a pair of socks last year for Christmas using this one, and I still have so much left over. So I need to do something where I just pair these 2 together because they do look quite nice together. Yeah, that does actually look really nice. So it's this one's kind of sagey. The pasture one, it's not really showing up super sagey, but it's like a very pale sage. And then obviously this one's like really nice and rich. So I have a lot of Rowan right now because those were what my recent projects were. It seems like I'm obsessed with Rowan yarn. I promise I'm not. It was just, well, I do really like them, but it was just what I was knitting recently. And then I have the Barocco Mercado Highland Peruvian wool that I talked about in the last video, but I still have not caked up, and I need to cake it up because I want it on the needles and I want to wear it to Thanksgiving. So I have 3 skeins of that. That's my whole yarn stash. I know that might have seemed like a lot, but it's actually not at all, because all of these have just recently been cast off the needles or are currently on the needles. And so this I feel like is a manageable amount. I don't plan on buying yarn anytime soon until I finish some projects. So the main reason why I keep it this way is, 1, I want to be able to buy a higher quality yarn. I want to be able to buy a good yarn for a top or bottom or sock or anything. I want to be able to buy a quality yarn, sturdy yarn, to make it a project that it will last forever. Essentially, that's what we want out of these goods. Is we spend so much time and effort and tears sometimes, you know, making these projects that you want them to be able to last. So I want to be able to afford nice yarn. Yarn is very expensive, or it can be. And so keeping a minimal stash instead of decorating my whole house in yarn, I mean, I don't want to go into debt for my hobby, so I paid it all up front. I also buy as I go, which is risky, okay? So like my Knitting for Olive project that I have over there, I didn't include that in this because it's on the needles over there. Everything else is right here. But my Knitting for Olive yarn, I buy 2 skeins at a time, which is risky because you could run out, which is what I'm having with the Swift tank right now. But that's okay because I will still end up with that yarn at some point. Okay, I'm okay with that project sitting for a minute until the yarn comes back in stock, because it's not the end of the world that I'm waiting for yarn. I have other projects that I can cast on. I have other yarn. And that also means that I'm out of that yarn, so I can go buy yarn for another project. And by the time I'm done with that project, that yarn might be back in stock, you know? So I just kind of play that kind of game. It is like a constant yarn chicken, and my projects are always on hold because of that. Because I'm always, if I run out, I have to go back to the yarn shop, and then it's like, when can I go back? But it brings a lot more patience to the hobby. It brings affordability to the hobby. It brings structure to the hobby, and it also does a lot less wear and tear on my body. So, you know, if you're just knitting, if you have arthritic problems already, like, you're just being kinder to your body by pacing yourself, I feel. And so that's why I keep more of a minimal stash. There are, you know, this can be a very expensive hobby. This could be an expensive sport, you know, and I know a lot of you know that, and you see all these things online of these beautiful stashes with all these beautiful colors, and oh my God, I wish I could have that. But mentally, I know that looking at that would stress me out because I would feel like I need to constantly be deep into a project. And also for a lot of projects, you need multiple skeins, you know. I went through a lot of yarn just for this one, and this was all just one brand, but still, I think their alpaca is like 13, 14 bucks a skein. I mean, that's not cheap when you're doing a full sweater, you know. And that's mixed, I was double stranding it with mohair, so really you're spending like $30 a skein essentially. So that's why I like to keep a minimal stash, make it a little bit more affordable, a little bit more user-friendly, and I love knowing what I have. I see so many vloggers on here that have no idea what they have in their stash, and that blows my mind that they have like 900 skeins of white. If you live your life like that, like, props to your brain, because mine would literally explode. I have 1, 2, 3 kinds of cream right now, but I know what they are, and I know what they're used for, and I know what I'm going to do with them. You know, it just makes it a little bit easier on my mind. I was going to get into the different notions that I have, but they're pretty basic. The needles, that's kind of it for my yarn. I don't have that much. I have maybe 12 skeins total sitting right here. I really don't have very much. Before we close out today, notion wise, I don't have a ton. One thing that I do have a ton of is stitch markers, and that's because my husband keeps thinking I don't have any, and so when he goes and picks out yarn for me as a surprise, he always buys me stitch markers, so I have like a butt ton of those. But the type of needles that I use is I use the carbons from Knitter's Pride, and this is what their set looks like. As you can see, I have some missing needles, but it came with some cords, some scissors, tapestry needles, measuring tape, all that good stuff in this set, and I love it. It goes from size 3mm up to 8 is how they do their sizing. I also use their DPNs, and that's how I got hooked on these, was from my Lavender Lane sock. So I have my DPNs, and I keep them in their case. I have extra DPNs from when I was buying them separately before Cameron surprised me with this case as my push present before I had Olivia. But I have cocoa knits is what I'm using for stitch markers. I have my extra wires. I have some measuring tapes. I have my cables. I have pom-poms for beanies. You know, standard, very standard things over here. Nothing crazy. Nothing really much in excess either, because I can fit it all in this little basket with like a ton of room left. Another thing I have that is a little bit unique is I have my working board, which is from Cocoa Knits as well. I absolutely love that thing because I can post up my pattern and check off where I'm at. I am a very hands-on person, so there are people that can use the iPads and zoom in and highlight. I wish I was savvy enough for that life, but I'm just not. I'm a handwriting person, so every pattern that I do, I essentially rewrite the pattern in my language, and that's just how I've been getting this done this whole time, these last 3.5 years. But that's it for my stash. I really love having minimal amounts. I feel like it makes my life a lot less stressful, even though it's stressful in some ways of having to go constantly buy yarn. As I'm looking at this now, this is the only yarn I don't have a plan for. and that makes me feel really good. I just need to have the ability and time, and I swear I keep getting like bits of mohair in my eyeball. The speed, that's the word I'm looking for, to be able to knit out the projects that I want to do. But I'm excited to figure out what to do with this one, because I'll either use it for me or use it for Cameron. It's very, very pretty, but I think after this season I'm pretty tweeted out. I've got a lot of tweed on the needles and have had a lot of tweed on the needles. I just unraveled my anchor sweater to add length, which I felt so brave doing. God, that was stressful. I've never unraveled like a complete project before, which did give me a little bit of hope in unraveling my Not Quite Cables skirt to do a different bind off, because the bind off I just did this standard knit bind off, and it's just so snug at the bottom with how flowy the skirt is, and I should have done more of an elastic bind off. I want to play with the knit through the back loop bind off. Looks really nice, so I might do that with my anchor sweater, and if I like it, I'll do it on that one, on my skirt. But anyways, I'm just rambling now. Hopefully in the next video I'll have some completed projects for you and some different whips, including this beauty. I want to get that one caked up today. I think that's it. I just wanted to share with you all my yarn stash. It's nothing crazy. Before I go, let me know in the comments how you feel about sock blockers. What sock blocker do you use? I have been using this one and I hate it. So let me know what you use for sock blockers, or if you even block your socks at all. I have seen some people on here say that they don't block their socks at all and that the foot is the best sock blocker. Actually heard that quite a few times, so that must be a thing. Let me know how you block your socks and what you use to block them. I'm very curious, because I've had some luck and some not quite luck. I had nothing but unlucky vibes from those terrible blockers. So let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And as always, let me know what projects you're working on. I love looking at new patterns and feeling inspired by all of you. Thank you for being here. Bye.